Hello, Uganda. Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Hotseat on 933 KFM. And welcome you, our listeners, across this beautiful land, the Pearl of Africa. My name is Patrick Amara. Tonight, our focus is our city. Yes, the city for the Pearl of Africa, the Ugandan capital Kampala. We'll be focusing on the Ugandan capital Kampala because our guest is meant to be the executive director of KCCA. We are still so hopeful that the executive director will be in the studio. But before that, there will be somebody holding forth for the executive director to speak on our behalf and on behalf of the city, as we keep our hope that the ED, Madam Sharifah Buzeki, will be in the studio. But in the meantime, I have the KCCA spokesperson, Daniel Nwebine, who is my friend. I want to welcome you to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Patrick.
You are like the group advance party, right?
Yes.
If this was in the military style, you are the group advance party.
You are the advance party because you are the first spokesperson of the city because you are the fourth estate.
No, in terms of us expecting our guest, you are the group advance party.
Well, I would say that.
If in biblical, you are the John the Baptist.
I wouldn't claim myself to be that high, but at least we are here.
But
KCCA is here.
But yes,
and the executive director is going to join us.
We're very hopeful that she'll be joining us shortly. Yes. But thank you so much for finding time. We've always wanted to speak the ED and speak to the management at KCCA. First, we can see things happening right now because at least the roads are getting better, at least the potholes are decreasing, and we see earth movements, we see the graders and caterpillars working. Daniel, there is something going on. We can maybe congratulate you for at least some work. Even when you came to Namuongo, 8th industrial area, it was not a hassle like usual, right?
Now, one, I would like to congratulate Monitor. You are in a dust-free area. I remember the last time I was here, we were talking about the dust that was raising. But 6 months down the road, because of the intensified supervision, the dedication of the team, and the commitment of everyone at KCCA, what was brown in front of our studios here is now black tarmac. It's a smooth ride. And yes, 7th Street, 6th Street, 5th Street, sometimes we block them for a little while, but we are certain that by December, it will all be black. We shall not see any brown in that area. So indeed, the congratulations you're giving us are in order, but also to the citizens, the people of Kampala, because they're the ones who have been patient, they're the ones who have braved the dust, they're the ones who have braved the mud when it rains because of the construction. They're the ones who have contributed resources through their local revenue contributions, trade licenses, property rates, ground rent, to make sure that we are where we are.
This tarmac has been a long way coming.
Yes.
I'm wondering why. Yes, we are working on tarmac, and by the way, they seem to have done a good job.
Yes.
Because we monitored every day. You could even see the thickness and the width of the road, and also they have given us pedestrian walkways.
And I trust you, Patrick, to do that.
They seem to have done a good job.
Yes.
But why did it have to take this long? Well, I remember when they had signed the contract to work on the roads. Daniel, almost 3 years and nothing is being done, and I'm told the money is on the account?
Well, sometimes you get a glitch. But once you oil that glitch,
I don't know why you are. This is not a glitch. This is like a total failure.
Then the machine moves. We have a new.
This was like a comprehensive failure. It's not a glitch, Daniel.
We have a new leadership, and you can see the results of the new leadership 6 months down the road. And if you listened in to the presser, we had the Monitor Group, we had KFM represented at the presser. We are promising to be 95% of all the roads that are under, for example, the Kampala City Roads Rehabilitation Project. By the end of this financial year, we shall have Salama Road tarmacked. We shall have St. Emafule tarmacked. We are going to have Spring Road. We are going to have Old Port Bell Road. All those roads that are remain as Sapolo Kagwa Road has been completed, and all we are waiting for is the walkways to be completed and the lighting. Now, we have been oiled. The machine is oiled and the machine is working.
So now, so for example, the Apollo Kagwa Road, you bring it up to the junction of Old Kampala there at the Indian quarters.
Yes.
And from there, what is the plan of going up? Because it looks like you haven't.
No, we have already signed the contract. We have Dot Services that has already commenced to work down at
near the mosque,
near Kabaka's Lake, and even near the mosque. Now that part of Periman Garden is one lot, because that is at below the police station. We have Periman Gardens up there. Then we connect to Old Kampala. Now that is part of the works that I
you know, Daniel. Whereas we can pat you on the back for the work that has been done.
Yes.
You wonder if you are taking a journey and you have reached Ginger, but it has taken you 10 hours. I'm wondering, yes, you've reached there, but is that the time you ought to have taken to reach your destination? So that's where the problem is.
Maybe would have gone a little faster. But like I said, this machine called KCCA has been oiled, and you have seen the difference. From January 8th, look at the milestones that we have come achieving, the community engagement, the drainage that has been opened, the drainages that have been opened, the speed at which the infrastructure is moving, the supervision, the frequency of supervision, especially when it comes to our infrastructure developments, the hospitals, the visits to the hospitals, and ensuring that our staff in there are working. All that is an indicator that the machine has been oiled and the machine is moving. And like you said at the beginning of this show, the difference is seen, it is visible, and you can feel it by stopping to polish your shoes.
If this was military, Daniel, you are the Group Advanced Party, and in Christianity, in the Bible, say you'd be the John the Baptist, but now the real deal is in the house. The ED, the ED is in the house. I'm going to take a break. So when we come back, we introduce the ED, Kampala Capital City Authority, Sharifah Buzeki. Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Amara. Tonight we are looking at the Kampala City Development and Management Affairs, and we are honored to host the Executive Director, KCCA, Sharifah Buzeki. Sharifah, thank you so much for joining us. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, our listeners.
It is the first time that we, as KFM Hot Seat, to be honored to host you, and it's a big deal, and we take it very highly that you had some time, because we only have one ED for Kampala. For us to be the ones among all the radio stations tonight to have you is such a big honor. Thank you.
I'm also honored to be here. Thank you so much.
It's almost 7 years. It's seven months since you are appointed ED for Kampala, and I can see some progress that's going on. And for those, we say congratulations to you. But I want to begin with a very personal question, because Kampala Capital City Authority, that city hall looked like a poisoned chalice. Whoever went there sometimes either ended up in prison or bad praise or something not very good. How are you handling that city hall?
I don't know whether it is too early to answer that question, but about what is happening at City Hall, but we are handling it using the normal way of administering any institution. We have respect for the management and the team I'm working with. We are also in constant communication with the political leadership, because we have a hierarchy of management in the laws which govern us, and we are committed to following them. From the management side, whatever we do has to flow through the State Executive Committee, It has to flow through council for approval. It also has to find itself in the space of the ministers, because Kampala is unique. It operates like a decentralized authority, but managed by the central government. So I might be the only chief executive who has more than 3 reporting lines, which I have to report to on equal wavelength.
If I can pick something from your submission, is that there's respect at the place of work. There seems to be some cohesion at the place of work, and for us, we mark those, because the Kampala KCCA or City Hall that we know was always bedeviled with conflicts and harassment and so many things. So if the ED says there's respect, there's cohesion, and all is moving well, then that's a good thing for Kampala. I began by saying to be ED for KCCA is like drinking on a poisoned well. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, things start so well, and sometimes they end so horribly. It's almost coming to a year, not a year, yeah, almost, since the Kitezi disaster, because you came in right after the Kitezi disaster, people killed by garbage. And I'm sure we're still dumping garbage, we're still managing garbage. How are we managing our garbage? How are we trying to avoid another Kitezi?
Oh, thank you very much. It is true, it is coming to a year. Ever since we had that instance of Kitezi, I think we will make a year on Sunday.
Yes.
We would like, as much as possible as cases, not to have a repeat of what happened. And because of that, we are looking up to modern methods of managing waste, as opposed to dumping traditionally. We are investing into establishing a waste management and resource recovery facility at the site we procured. As soon as we finish the procurement of the land, we will be able to fully start on establishing of that facility. At the moment, even before we establish it, because we are still procuring the land, we have partly paid. In the little space we have been given to use, we are trying our level best to do land filling in that small space and compacting of that waste so that we don't accumulate a heap, and also gazetting space where the waste pickers, the ones who are picking the recyclables, are, so that we have a chamber for them, so that we have an organized space, even if it is a waste management facility, but it is organized.
So you're still really at the preliminary level of even acquiring land itself, procuring it. So if you have any plans that are technological, that are advanced, we are yet to see them because you're just at the beginning, right?
Yeah, we finalized the procurement agreement, but we have just paid 15% of what we are supposed to pay. Even if it were you who sold us that land, you would not want us to go full blast and establish the final facility we want on that land. So we were given chance to use around 50 acres of that land. And when we fully acquire it, we will fully go into resource recovery and having a modern facility for waste management.
This land we're talking about, where is it and how big is it and how accessible is it?
It is only accessible for people who are doing business which is supposed to be done there, like waste management. So the trucks which ferry our waste there, and then our waste management officers, and then those who have been authorized to do the sorting at the place, those are the ones who go there. It's not like a public...
Actually, the access, I mean, for the trucks that are going there, because if they're going to drive 100 or 60 kilometers going through, I don't know, taking which road, that alone becomes an encumbrance.
No, when we were procuring, we took into consideration the issue of distance. And we were procuring land which is not more than 30 kilometers away from Kampala, because it has an implication on the turnaround time on picking garbage from the city. So we wanted a distance where a truck can at least move twice a day, take, come back, and then take. So it is within a radius of 30 kilometers, just here in Mpigi. And we've tried to maintain the roads which are there, but we have also planned to work on those roads so that they can be able to hold the heavy trucks which are going to ferry the garbage there.
And back at Kitezi, Madam Edi, government had promised to compensate the victims and those in the buffer zone to be displaced. What is the update?
In terms of compensation,
Yes.
government is progressing on the compensation, but you know, this is government.
What is progressing?
Progressing, I am trying to tell you that we have a process we go through to compensate. We have the person we call the chief government valuer. It is not within my means or within the means of KCCA to just say, I am going to give you 50 million, 60 million. Your property, what happened to you has to be valued. So all those cases were submitted to the chief government valuer, and the valuer has been releasing reports. So far, we have 2 reports. We got the report of the people whose houses were demolished when we are creating a road, an access to rescue people. That report came out and they have been compensated, the 18. Recently, we got another report for the 34 whose houses were buried by waste. And those ones, we are also in the process of compensating them because we have just received the report. We have a category of people, 70, who are being valued because for them, their houses flooded and the integrity of the structures they were living in was compromised. So we have finalized the integrity studies of those structures, and the chief government valuer is also going to value them and tell us the valuation costs which we can pay.
All right.
So that's why I was telling you it's a process.
That's the process.
Yes.
I just want to come back to the city, Madam Edie, because when we go downtown or even on the streets of Kampala, as we drive, there is anarchy on the streets of Kampala. Whether it is somebody in high office or it's a border rider, sometimes they decide to disregard the traffic regulations and laws. Whether it is a one-way, they will drive it. Whether it is not respecting the flower gardens and the things they put there, they will do it. What is it going to take for Kampalans to live in a city that people are decent, enforcement is robust, and everybody follows the law?
Thank you for that question. But the first thing is that it is the issue of the mindset. How responsible are we as city residents or dwellers in having a city we desire to have? Yes, we will enforce. Should someone wait to be enforced on? Not to drive on a walkway? Not to ride, you a border rider? Why are you riding on a walkway where pedestrians should pass? Should you need a KCCA enforcement officer to pull you off the pedestrian way? No. So it's an issue of mindset, and we have intensified sensitization of the masses. We are keeping our enforcement team on the ground. However, that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable, and in terms of management of traffic, at KCCA, we have established a traffic control center. That's why you are seeing a number of traffic lights and junctions being signalized. We feel that if there is organized traffic flow within the city, people will not be prompted to do some of those things, driving on the shoulders, on the pavements, knocking this one and the other one, because there will be seamless traffic flow.
You know, there has been a record that when there's a serious and robust enforcement, Madam Edie, people seem to change. People seem to develop a culture that has been inculcated into them because you have been forceful in ensuring that the laws are followed. For you to think that you're going to sensitize, you're going to tell them, you're going to appeal to them, it may not work. The police should be doing their job. After some time, hopefully, people will know that this you don't do, because if you do it, you pay.
That's very correct. That's why I said that our enforcement team is on the ground. What you are adding is that we need to intensify the enforcement and our presence on the road, and that we really appreciate.
Let me pick for you, Madam Edie, example of the non-motorized transport corridor. A beautiful idea that had changed Kampala, and even as you'd walk down there and you just feel good because you walk downtown without a hassle. It has been totally abused, sometimes under the watch of the policemen. What is that about?
As I said, it is the issue of mindset. It is the issue of the city residents not following order. But our enforcement team is always downtown there, chasing them today, coming back tomorrow. And that will not tire. The issue of sensitization is we think that Ugandans have ears. After some time, they should be able to tell that this is wrong, this is bad. I'll give you an example. When we started enforcing on the green spaces, yeah, people were saying it is a joke, we cannot have it. People still destroy the spaces. Yes, we have some remnants who are still abusing those spaces, but we are not at the level where we were in January. So what does that mean? That we should have a hybrid. We should enforce, but we should also tell people that this is wrong. And that is also another form of enforcement.
I have seen when something is started and we are very intentional to do something right, even the wrongdoers will not. I give you an example of the Entebbe Express.
Yes.
You will not see a border. You will not see somebody riding a bicycle there. Why? Because from day one they said this is how we're going to work, and it works.
That's correct.
So, Madam Edie, I still think your enforcement team, for example, the non-motorized transport corridor, need to do much more than they are doing. Because if they are resolute on what needs to be done, believe you me, nobody, Ugandans sometimes fear men in uniform. Nobody is going to dare to go there. But because there's been laxity, even if you go there right now, you'll not see any person in uniform, and people are abusing what was meant to be a brilliant and beautiful idea.
Yeah, that's correct. We still have a challenge at night because we do not have night surveillance in KCCA. They stop at exactly 8, and that is an extension. They're supposed to stop at 5. We are in negotiations to have night surveillance because most of the ills take place at night. But also during the day, yeah, we need to intensify and dominate more those spaces, and that is something we can really do.
You have given us, you have tried to put the signal on all the traffic lights on different junctions across the city, which is a beautiful thing. And we see the road is being worked on, especially this part of Kampala where we are. 8th Street, 6th, 7th Street and 6th Street in Namongo industrial area looks very, very beautiful. But if you go on Kampala Road, which is like the major street for Kampala, Madam Edie, that road at least needs some lights on the street lights. How can we be in the capital of the Pearl of Africa walking in darkness?
At night.
And yet we say we have surplus power. What's the problem?
We are having a project of KCCA, which is bringing in more traffic lights on our roads. And as we have always communicated, after 12 months, we are going to have a different Kampala, because all that is in the pipeline of the KCCA project. Our roads are going to have traffic lights.
I'm sure when you came to office, you found some grand plans, and they have always, even before you contracted some people, Israeli farms, South African farm, to do the Greater Kampala Master Plan. And when you look at some of those plans you have maybe at City Hall, they look so glorious. The problem with us is putting in practice what we have already planned. The policy and the practice are so wide apart. So are you telling the people of Kampala that this time around the plans are going to be actualized?
Yes, I can tell them that the plans are going to be actualized in line with the available funding, because the plans have to be funded. And for every little penny we'll get, we'll put it to good use.
Well, I had to let that sink in, because we'll be asking, come a few months from now, what happened to the plans. I see the road you've driven on to come to our office. At least now it's a beautiful road. And for us who work from here, we feel okay. And I was asking the spokesperson just before you came in, yes, you've done a good job. But when you look back at when the contract was signed and the money was availed, it is almost 4 years or 3 years, and I'm wondering, why must it take about 3 or 4 years to construct a road 1 kilometer in Kampala? Why do we always have these delays?
I think some of the delays are occasioned. One, what we call a delay may be occasioned by the type of contract you signed. If you have 3 kilometers of roads and you said they would be delivered in 3 years, work expands with time allocated. The contractor will have all the time available to them to do the work. What we have done, we sat with contractors afresh and told them they need to have these roads worked on because of their implication on the businesses of people on the lives of people, because Kampala is ranked to have poor air quality because of the too much dust in the air, because of a lot of constructions taking place. So we had to sit with them and say, yes, the contract was this, but we know it is doable within this period. You need to accelerate your work. And that's why you see that most of the contractors now are on the move. They are working day and night to see that these works are completed. The other delay is sometimes because of the transfer of utilities. For example, this particular road, we had drainages here, and they took a lot of time to be transferred, and also constructing new drainages. So sometimes the utilities are disturbing us. The other issue is right of way. For example, if you go to Spring Road, we will have progressed very well, but we have one PAP there who is taking too long to accept us to finish that part. So that one also causes delay. But some of those things are not anticipated at the beginning of the contract.
So sometimes you go ahead and acquire the money, or whether it is a loan or a grant, when you don't have a right of way. Why would you start a road and you don't have right of way?
The current grants we have, by the way, they do not have money for right of way. The agreement is we sit with the local communities, because this is a public good. We sit with the local communities, they give us right of way. So we have to negotiate with people. And even these roads we are talking about, like Spring Roads, all other project affected persons gave us right of way, save for one. So we are still in talks with that person to be able to give us right of way.
Madam Edie, my concern is, if there's this PAP, why would you start the graders and caterpillars are moving, yet you know a kilometer ahead you have no right of way? Why wouldn't you negotiate for the right of way so that when they start, they don't have to stop?
Yeah, we are explaining the delay in construction. Even not starting and starting with negotiation would delay the construction. So I was trying to explain why these works delay sometimes. It is because of those negotiations. And for example, you have been having these very bad roads which were exhibited when they are exhibiting potholes. So do you say that because there is this PAP, let's leave that road to be the way it is and proceed? You have to be on the doorsteps of this PAP to accept so that you construct the road.
What would happen when one PAP decides to say, you know what you're offering me is below the value of my piece of land? Eventually, what would happen?
In the worst case scenario, we may have to heed to the demand. But what we are telling Kampalians or people of Kampala is some of these public goods, you need to cede something for the benefit of the community. And many people, by the way, have been very, very cooperative in as far as giving right of way is concerned. And that's why you see other roads progressing very well.
All right. Madam Executive Director, Kampala Capital City Authority, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, we want to go into the night thing. We understand the carnival will be back in Kampala very soon. Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Kamara. Tonight we're discussing Kampala City Development and Management Affairs. Our guest is the Executive Director, Kampala Capital City Authority, Sharifah Buzeki. Before we took a break, I talked about the carnival, but maybe you can put it right. And you know, Kampala is full of young people. Kampalans have their vibe. Kampalans want to go out. It's one of the cities in East Africa where people know how to have a good time. So if you can do that, because the young people want to have a good time. I understand you're promising to have some kind of festival. Please bring us to speed on what this you're talking about.
Thank you very much. One of our mandates, of our roles as provided for in the KCCA Act, is to promote tourism in Kampala. And the festival we are talking about is part of that, of delivering on that mandate. We, together with the Ministry of Tourism, planned to have this festival for the people of Kampala. It may be, I do not want to unveil everything today because the launch is tomorrow. The launch is tomorrow. But this will be a mixture of what should help us to direct the city dwellers to what the city should be.
Talking about the tourism part of Kampala, can Kampala, the city you manage, be able to compete with cities around us for meetings, for conferences and events? Because, you know, cities around us, even if I don't mention, because when you went to Nairobi, the whole of 2 years back or even this year, you find it quite busy, or you go to Kigali, it's quite busy. And yet, we seem to be in a better location, better terrain, and quite frankly, very good people. But we're missing out on mice.
I think it can compete. I think Dan will have to provide our profile, the tourism profile of Kampala, to you, so that you see what we mean. We have profiled all the areas which can be able to accommodate conferences, and on a daily, we are making clearance for conferences which are coming into Kampala. The only issue is that we have not publicized them well, but also when we improve on our connectivity for people who are coming in and going out, if we improve on our ambience, if we improve on our attractiveness of the city, the sky will be the limit. We'll be able to compete with other cities.
There's a problem with Kampala and a problem with Uganda. Sometimes we are not able to tell our story. So, and then we let other people tell the story. So I hope the communications team at your office will be robust to tell the Ugandan or the Kampala story so that it can be heard and then can attract more people. For example, I know there are people who live on Friday night. They used to live Friday night on cities around us in the region to come to Kampala to have their weekend in Kampala.
Very true.
But nobody is telling that story, and yet it is there.
Yeah.
You know, people want to come and happen in Kampala. When they come to happen in Kampala, of course, they are leaving their money in Kampala. It is helping the local economy. But if you're not able to tell your story, nobody's going to tell it for you.
That's very correct. And part of telling the story is what we have done to profile all the areas which are worth visiting in Kampala. And that book, by the end of this quarter, it will be out for publication, for people to see. And also the other element, the other ingredient you have brought in is the issue of shouting what we have, telling the public what we have.
For the city to be effective, or to a city that is working, it should have an effective public transport system. We do not have an effective public transport system, and that is a big issue. I wonder what you have in store so that we can say tomorrow, if I'm staying in Chalwajala, I'm going to hop on a bus, it will bring me somewhere, I'll not be having some congestion, and traveling will be okay. It's a headache to travel in Kampala. Probably, Madam, with all respect, unless you have some sharpshooters and somebody clearing the road for you, the likes of us, the lesser motors, we spend 3 hours in a journey of only 1 kilometer.
That is very correct. The issue of massive transport is very urgent. But you also remember that some time back, there was an introduction of buses in the city. But we needed to have engaged more to minimize the resistance we had from the taxi, the minibus or taxi owners. Yes. And we have already started that conversation with them. We have started the conversation with WUTOF, the umbrella organization for the taxi owners. We are also set to have, there are two bodies. The second one, which also is having membership of taxi owners. Why we are starting this conversation, we have been approached by Metro buses and Chira Motors. They would like to bring their buses in Kampala to be able to contribute to massive transport. Chira Motors is bringing the electric buses, which are eco-friendly, and we are having that discussion. By end of September, we'll be able to announce something good for the people of Kampala.
But just before you came to office, there was a plan, a certain entity or group of people were supposed to import in quite an 800 or something, 1,000 buses into Kampala, and I don't know whether you found that in your shelf, but also, did you know there was even a ceremony to introduce to Ugandans that they are bringing, introducing the railway to bring people from Namamve to Kampala, and it was a big ceremony, and I was wondering, why do you even have to think it's something big, yet the railway you're bringing, which is the standard gauge no, not the standard, the medium gauge railway has been here since 1940. And then somebody in KCCA and the ministry were telling us that let's celebrate. We were like, wait a minute, this thing was here 70. It's a relic of the past.
Yeah, the issue of buses was there. And as I said, we needed to have engaged more, because when that proposal was made, there was resistance from the buses, the taxis, the matatus. There was resistance from them because they thought they were going to go out of business. And that's why we want to do it right this time. We are engaging them and also seeing how best can they be involved in massive transport, so that they willingly or voluntarily cede the small matatus, and then we go for bigger occupiers.
When they resist, are they backed by the law or politics?
Not in management of society. Sometimes someone may not be backed by the law, but human nature demands that you listen. Because if you don't listen and you oppress too much, the oppressed will get out and make it very difficult for you to implement what you want.
What I have seen and what I've heard other commentators say, that sometimes things don't work in Kampala because of politics. You the technical people with the ED, you may want to do things this way and you think is right, but then there comes in the political capital and somebody say don't do it because that is going to disturb my people. I wonder how prepared you are to juggle your way through doing work for Kampala, but also minding the politics of Kampala.
That is a daily meal, which you have to do if you are to manage Kampala, because when you are managing Kampala, you are managing people. And when you are managing people, a person is a political animal. So you have to juggle the two. But as I said, there's always a way out of all that. Where you see a leader saying, this is going to affect my political capital, it means you need to have engagement with the society to make them understand what you are talking about. There are things which may not be allowed to happen in some timelines, but they end up happening because you have engaged. So even when we have that rhetoric on the platform, we still think that where we need things to happen, we need to engage and have them happen.
There is the issue of border, and Madam Edie, I have nothing against border, but if they increase at the rate they are right now, at one point you'll be able to see the whole of Kampala Road 3 kilometers ahead. You only have to see a sea of border. And yes, it's a source of livelihood for most of young people in Uganda. But how is it going to be managed? Because it's almost getting out of control.
Yeah, very true. We have that issue of borders, those cyclists in Kampala. We have done the first steps of gazetting their stages, where they are supposed to park and where they are supposed to be picked if they are needed. We have also gone ahead to register the membership at each stage. And we have that record. One, to manage the security aspect of the people who are using those borders, also to manage in terms of organized transport. But we still have challenges. We have those who have not registered, the ones they call Vianza. I don't know whether you know that name. The freelancers.
Okay.
Yeah, the ones who don't have a stage. We have that group, and it is the one we are battling with, because if they are organized into stages, they are easy to manage, and also they are easy to tame in terms of mobilizing them towards doing what is good. But as cities grow, that is a transition. They will naturally transit out.
Criminality seems to be coming back. I think I was reading a newspaper yesterday, people being stabbed in different parts, even in downtown, mobile money operators. And yet, one of the high-end point that sells Kampala was security. Is it slipping out of the hand?
I do not want to say it is slipping out of hand, but some of those pockets of criminality are happening. And that's why I said that we are in negotiations to have night surveillance and also work with police to ensure that we beef up the security. The other aspect is what you talked about, the issue of street lighting. When a city is dark, some of the things are expected.
Allow me to open the lines, Madam Iri, so that the people of Kampala can engage you and so them too can have their say. Let me read the numbers: 0751 933 900 or 0393 262 2934. I understand they already have a call online. Hello. Hello. I have a call online. Hello. All right. I think I'm having a technical hitch there. No. Somebody decided to stand right at the prayer house and make that call. Unfortunately, you're too close, so I don't know what I'm going to do.
Hello.
Yes, you have another caller. Hello. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Thanks for that show.
You're welcome.
This is Ekode.
Yes, go right ahead, Ekode.
Yes, I just thank the Madam Edi for making it on the hot seat today. A quick one. Most of the issues that have been in that office have always faced a very big challenge with the Lord Mayor, the relationship with the Lord Mayor of Kampala. How is her relationship with the Lord Mayor, and are the things working on well? And finally, how she's making her duties perform well. Most of the EDs, the trend has been that there has to be internal fights with the Lord Mayor. And I always ask, is the problem of KCCA leadership or is the constitution?
Thank you, Mr. Kode there. Let me pick another caller in. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling in from Kisasi.
What's your name, sir?
I'm calling Stephen.
Stephen, go right ahead.
Thank you for bringing us with the Madam Director. I have some concerns about the traffic lights of Kasubi, Nakulabie, and Polokagwa. These traffic lights are not in standard. When you just stop like this, when you start your vehicle, it turns red quickly. So that one must be communicated at least to Madam. Then number two, the border enforcement. You need to know, to understand the root cause of why border ride on pavement. You must start with the vehicles which drive near the pavement and taxi which stop to block border.
Thank you very much. Let me pick another caller online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good evening, Mr. Kamala. Thank you so much for picking my call. I'm Wilson.
Yes.
I'm calling from Kisugu.
Yes.
And thank you for bringing the executive director. First and foremost, we are grateful about our road. The road that runs past the KFM up to Namuongo. So now a new one. We are happy. The concern, dogs are killing us around Kisugu Market, that stretch up to Kisugu Police Post, up to IHK. I don't know where they come from, but they are as many as impossible. It's as if we're in a national park. If you get up in the morning, take a child to school, the dogs are everywhere. They are wild. I don't know how the executive area can help us.
All right. Thank you very much. Let me maybe stop there so the ED can be able to respond.
Okay. Thank you, dear listeners, for those questions you have raised. Yes, the relationship between the Lord Mayor and myself, how are we working and the staff. As I said earlier, we have laws which are well stipulated on how we relate and the hierarchy within which we report. At the moment, we are still using that hierarchy, and we are also still using the established lines of communication, and our working relationship is okay. If it is maintained as that, I think as a city we'll be able to work in harmony. The feedback you have provided on the traffic lights of Kasubi, Nakulabie, Sir Apollo, we take it in good faith, and I'm going to dispatch my team to move there starting tomorrow to handle it. The other issue of stray dogs in Kisugu, thank you for that feedback. We are also going to handle that instantly.
All right. Thank you so much. Sometimes, let me just take one more caller because I'm told that there's so many people who want to. Yes. Hello.
Yes, Kamara, this is Juma calling from Busega.
Juma in Busega. Go right ahead, Juma.
Thank you so much. We appreciate Madam for being with you tonight at KFL. My concern is one. Proposal about 30 kilometers towards PG destination. I don't know how secure is that place is goes for how long, and sometimes Ugandans have some space of land which are free, but the government things, they come with some promises like maybe clearing or paying some people such that they can accommodate KCCA to drop those dust.
Are you talking about the dump site or the budget? The garbage control area? Juma, I don't know. Did you pick the question? I did not understand it.
I didn't pick the question either.
I didn't get it, Juma. But sometimes, as we conclude, there are issues of budget. What is the budget looking like at 2025-26 for KCCA?
Yes, in 2025-2026, we got some increment on our budget. We got an increment for roadworks. We got an increment for wage for staff. You remember not long ago, we used to have strikes of nanny payment for staff. So we managed to get an increment in the budget for the payment for workers and roads majorly.
All right. I want to thank you so much. What's going to be your concluding remark tonight?
My concluding remark is to request the people of Kampala to rally behind us, because managing this city, it is the responsibility of all of us to deliver the city we all desire to have. Most of the things we do in the city need collective responsibility. Whatever we touch, the state dweller has to touch. All of us have a role to play, and we'll be grateful if you join hands with us to deliver the city we desire.
Sharifah Buzeki, Executive Director, Kampala Capital City Authority. I want to thank you so much for having given us your time and for your submission. We've learned so much in a few minutes you're with us. We can see some progress with the roads are progressing. We see some progress also on the traffic lights. We hope Kampala is on the right trajectory. We here at the Hot Seat, we wish you luck in what you're doing. And that brings us to the end of tonight's edition of the Hot Seat. Good night and God bless.